Okay, and the magic machine tells me that I'm live, so I'm going to put my faith in the magic machine and assume that I am indeed live. Tippy Teotig, the perfect is the enemy of the good. And I can already see I'm running into some technical things here. Oy. Much to do and not much time to do it. Burning with a desire to come to you guys and give an update on what's been going on with the solo Mork Borg playthrough. But life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, and things have been coming up, and always an interruption happens. So this is going to be an update and let you know what the status is, let you know where everything is kind of so far, and we'll take it from there. Uh, Forgive my disorganized self. Um, I forgive my disorganized self, and I go with the flow. When, as best as I recall, where we last updated, we knew that our ingenue, our leading lady, our Lady Malaise, who is the woman upon whom, the young woman, upon whom everyone in our court is, their attention is fixated and focused. Culturally, personally, societally, as a group, that's where the energy is going. That seems to be the protagonist of the story. She was adrift in grift and moored in this land of grift, this city state that, looking at the map of this land of Morkborg, I visualized it really as, I'm actually going to just show the physical book here. This grift, if you, I perceive Morkborg as being the size of Australia. So grift is a very large chunk of real estate, and I actually visualized it in my head as being the whole landmass as being one large city. Um, Other people have fleshed out the map in greater detail in their own mythologies, and the world of Morkborg is a setting. I don't think a rule set. I believe it is a setting. I believe it's let's play in Stephen O'Malley's Paint world, but that's okay. I love it. Um, the but Other people have fleshed it out to be the land masses. There's a city state of grift, and then there's regions of it, and I can work with that, and I can work with this place being having more spaces. But the world of grift, as I see it, this land of Morkborg is like a dark, in my perception, is like a dark H.P. Lovecraft dreamlands. A Dark Souls, Bloodborne esque place that focuses and floats between, in areas medieval and in areas early 19th century. And this land of grift and my people, it's like um, turn of the century places, Dunwich horror, and in at the edges, in places it could be Venice at the Renaissance, touched by this morose ochre perversion that is the bastion of Morkborg. Um, Atlantic City burning Ferris wheels in medieval Mayfair nights. All these mixed bag of beautiful imagery that can come to the mind that is this play sandbox of La La La, Tim Burton meets Black Sabbath Apocalypse, Methamphetamine Evil, that is Mork Borg. So, having painted enough of a visual image, coming back down to the narrative, our cast of characters prior to this, to these nights, had been strewn across this continent of Morkborg. Their people had come to Morkborg many generations ago, though generations mean nothing. Everything has been lost to this collective amnesia, though our people do not believe themselves to be of this land. Though we don't know at this point, is this a grift? Is this a lie that they've told themselves that they've come to believe? We know what they know about themselves and we know what they represent to us. They represent various cards of the tarot, some single cards, some various cards. Our Lady Malaise represents all the royal court cards and several of the trumps, the emperor, the empress in various guises. She suffers from drug addiction and she is a young woman in her 20s and she is in this city state of grift with her songstress, her entertainer, her lady in waiting, kind of, but really her kind of best friend, Svedna, that we see to her right, this redhead, or her left, actually, this redhead, who is quite jealous, though it might not always come out. And though when it does come out, we don't always know if it upsets the Lady Malaise and if the Lady Malaise is not entertained by it somewhat. In the very distance, we see a non-player character, essentially. A true girl in waiting, that we call her, a lady in waiting by status, a young woman, a girl, somewhere between 8 and 10, though it's hard to tell because of malnutrition that is the stock of this land. Very intelligent girl, though, somewhere between 8 and 10 years old, maybe. I think closer now that I think about it. Mahunda, though we don't perceive her going into dungeons often. She is a sword bearer at times. If you don't follow all the episodes, I won't be able to help you. The Man in the Hat. With the visage that would strike fear into any enemy. Yaska the Wolf started off life as just a warrior, following the strange, bizarre, esoteric hermit Schmick into the bizarre, fetid wasteland of, what do they call this here? I'm terrible with the name locations here. There's all these things: the wretched undead, the unborn undead. What do they call these people? The unfortunate undead. I apologize. So many heavy metal records. What are we doing? You nefarious undead. These guys are actually the unforgiven undead. Oh, I apologize. Following Schmick into the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead on their quest into the Bergen Crypt. Though destined to be a warrior, a man of dignified taste and aspirations, though he kept it a secret, most knew he was in fact illiterate. Though people have to note some strange condition post his journey and mission with Schmick, he can now be seen to have the ability to read scrolls. This is because of the gray matter crown that he grave robbed and as he fixed to his signature Battle Wolf helmet. Speaking of the Mad Hermit Schmick, having been summoned from his mission in the land of the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead to come back to help try and get the Lady Malaise out of grift. He only wants to bring her and the rest of the crew back to the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead because he believes everyone's destiny lies there. Everyone in the land of Mork wants desperately to get away from the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead and the Bergen Crypt where the basilisk is said to lay. Schmick's attitude about it is, no, to the center of the cyclone, we must go. That is what he had told Yaska. That is what he had told Yaska that Yaska's dreams had meant. That is what he's going to want to convince the lady to do. Though he might have a hard time to do that because all the lady really wants to do is just kind of blase blah through these last days. And these are last days. The world is indeed coming to an end, though all the elders in the community believe that the last days will be coming to an end. And grift quickly, soon. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's get the gal out of there. The wise woman that can be mistaken for a scarecrow that we see in the back, Marquette. She had been in hunting around past the haunted graveyards of Graventosk, a graveyard of another ilk near the palace of the Shadow King. A Gothic black castle, like a mirror of the cathedral of the two-headed basilisk. Bear that in mind. She was in an opposite place, a near mirror place to where the hermit thought that the center of the cyclone is. She was in the palace of a Shadow King, a crumbling ruins of endless tunnels and spiraling halls, a imitation of a court of life like the lady might occupy, but the best approximation maybe that this land allows. She was near that place with the with the, who is this guy? The heretical priest, Father Tom. And we see two agendas forming around the Lady Malaise. Father Tom and Marquette know the last days are coming, and they seek to see the Lady Malaise and the court established in some place where they can see that end through. A place of relative safety. It would seem their game plan would be to take the lady to this palace of the Shadow King or thereabouts near Graventosk, where either they could establish some sort of keep or marry her off, possibly, to one of these children of the king. The inner wing still stands, acting as the home of the Shadow King, a being obscured by ritual. The slaves of the servants of the courtiers of the king come forth and do his will. The title is hereditary. Sons are always born to the Shadow King. It's whispered princes of that line disguise themselves as ordinary men, wandering the ruins, engaging in games, and tricking travelers, multiplying the miseries of their people. There's opportunity there. We say hello to Spooky. We say hello to Juicy J. We say hello to Rugged Source. We say hello to Jonaside. I hope you're enjoying the show. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. hoping they had time to explore their opportunities and explore the possibilities here. Word got back of things deteriorating in Grift. I believe that just like any addiction, any use, any problem, the entire land is deteriorating. Left to their own devices, devices deteriorate and rust. The Lady Malaise in Grift is grifting. Whatever instructions were left to keep things secure behind closed doors were not followed as securely as they needed to be followed, and the situation became emergent. And the most responsible people in the room, probably Marquette and Father Ton, came first. And maybe because there was enough of a connection to the community at large, the underground network at large of refugees, of people beyond the endless sea, that even Schmick, though a hermit and on a vision quest, was able to know and understand the political game was afoot, and that if he did not get back to Grift to have a say in what was going to happen to the lady, then there would be no possibility to bring her to Bergen Crypt to see any sort of final confrontation that he may think is necessary with the basilisk, or the final confrontation with the end of days happen, or escape if he thinks that there's some miracle arc that can take them beyond the valley, beyond Mork Borg, or to the center of the earth, or whatever. This is a religious man. This is a man who thinks he's a hermit. The esoteric, the hermit is our heretical priest class is our Hierophant card. Our esoteric hermit, Schmick, is our hermit on his own vision quest, following his own vision. These archetypes are in opposition. The Lady Malaise, look, she'll either die in her addiction and she will have not, profited off of this experience of this incarnation, or she will go on this active life. She will go on this vision quest, and she will experience this unfolding, right? She will be active in this incarnation, and she will, drop the tab, take the trip, and experience this life, this playthrough, as it were. The question is whether, and the question is whether or not, no matter where she goes, right? You could be a prince of princes or lowly sweet street sweeper. Sooner or later, you're all going to dance with the Reaper. She can face the music and Gravantosk, or the Court of the Shadow King, or she can dance the dance in the Valley of the Unfortunate and Undead, or Bergen Crypt, right? You know what I mean? The joke is whether she follows the Hierophant or follows the heretical priest, bitch is going to die. Just like you and me. That's why we play these games, right? Probably. The plane of all games may be, essentially, let's play out winning and losing, just so we can try on those pair of shoes to see what it's like, because hey, what happened to Ung? Hey, Ung, he's not moving, man. He's not getting up. Jeez, it's been 2 days. Should we keep walking? Frig. Same thing happened to the other guy. Man, does that happen every time? Shit. Happens to the little ones all the time, the babies, and they come right out. Ladies too, and they have them. Whoa, sucks. Something we could do? Is someone up there? Fuck. Anyway, enough dancing about architecture. We've introduced everybody. We've talked about the concept of the tarot cards. The alchemist, our occult herb master, Marquette, represents alchemy, temperance card. And that's good because maybe we saw her in the first spread that we did. We saw her situated above the Empress card, which was good. Maybe that indicates that she will be some sort of light of wisdom to help the lady find her way. People who tune into this will say, we tuned into this because it was called Mork Borg Solo, but so far this guy, he talked about the world of Mork Borg at the beginning, and then he showed us the map. But then he started talking about people, and then he started talking about tarot cards. Folks, the rules of Mork Borg as they appear in the book, these rules, let me make an argument. These rules, I argue, these rules are irrelevant. The rules for leveling that involve the possibility of getting worse during leveling, I'm getting rid of those. No one should give a goddamn about the rules of Mork Borg because I think the rules of Mork Borg were determined randomly by looking at the general lay of the land of original first edition Dungeons and Dragons inspired OSR first generation OSR retro clone inspired games like White Hack, Black Hack, basic fantasy role playing, and taking a general lay of those rules, doing some modifications to make them super hardcore, like that general rule about leveling that I think they just did to be like, we're so hardcore. There's so many mistakes and typos in this thing. Oh, let me show you something. Let me point out that the reviews of this thing go to show you that the state of role-playing game reviews are so bad it's not even funny. Let me point something out. No one has pointed out the fact that there are no rules for falling in this game. It is standard, even in first generation Dungeons and Dragons, even in Iron Falcon has rules for fucking falling. This doesn't have rules for fucking falling. That goes to show you. It just does. There's no. The rules are irrelevant. You can ignore the rules. It's Southern Lord Record. It's Stephen O'Malley's art style, the role playing game, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I love Earth. You want to play Earth, the role playing game? It makes perfect sense that these guys are doing album crawls, dungeon crawl hybrids. It makes perfect sense that the majority of what this scene is about community generated content. It makes perfect sense. Mork Borg is beautiful. Mork Borg, the rules are irrelevant. You could take the rules and say, rule number 1, randomize the rules for character generation, monster generation, and rule generation. Number 2, make the images hash. Done. Straight up. Honestly, I kid because I love, but it's like not that far off. But I don't know, I forgot. So anyway, but like we'll get there. So housekeeping. When this original playthrough was planned, my channel was totally centered on had basically totally become centered on a rule set called Micro Chapbook RPG. And the plan of attack was to do this playthrough as a hybrid of Micro Chapbook RPG and Mork Borg. as I got more and more into Mork, it kind of became difficult to try and figure out how I was going to kind of blend the two. Then I kind of got lost because I started getting kind of worried that I wasn't going to be able to kind of make that happen. And I started looking more and more at different solo rule sets that were generated for Mork, like a thing called Solitary Defilement that's very popular, and another solo rule set that was generated. So I kind of got lost in the weeds for a while, getting lost and obsessing about the minutia of how I was going to do the mechanics of combat, the mechanics of overland travel, and the mechanics of basically almost even dungeon generation, which were the things that I thought were totally taken care of by Micro Chapbook RPG. So I found myself, in addition to dealing with the housekeeping problems of just the life problems that were preventing me from getting down to making a video with you guys of doing an update with what was happening with the role play, I was having a difficulty getting the role play to get beyond research, work, scratch notes, and experiments in different strategies of doing different things. So I finally had to say I was getting to a point where I was starting to experience analysis paralysis, where I had to stop and say, no, we're going back to doing Micro Chapbook RPG for the dungeon generation. We're going back to, we had a legitimate point about the status effects for rooms of Micro Chapbook RPG not being necessary, of being a thing that we could turn off because we don't need it. But the core mechanics of Micro Chapbook RPG, as far as dungeon generation, we can keep, but we can get rid of the treasure roll table, because we have a perfectly good treasure roll tables and provided for us by Mork, and that will allow us to get Mork back in and square this, do it that way. Then I also had to come back to my core phrase of tippy teotig, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Don't overthink it, baby. Look, if we get into it, we just don't want to create a situation where we keep on reinventing the wheel and we keep on changing the rules. Whatever system we end up using, we want to be consistent throughout. And that was part of what was causing the trepidation of going in and starting the first dungeon. Was I didn't want to create a situation where we discovered that I had committed to a system, the system was unworkable, and we found a playthrough that had generated good characters, good narrative, a very interesting plot point that we were interested in exploring, a good concept with these tarot cards that we were interested in exploring, but this had this like critical or crucial flaw in regards to the way that we were running the mechanic, or the way we leveled some character or something. So we didn't want to do that. So it was what it was. And finally, I had to say, look, we just have to proceed, and we just have to not overthink it. It's a game. So we're going to do it as simply as possible. We're just going to be consistent. And whatever we go through, whatever we do, we're going to do. And it is what it is. So where are we now? We are equipped and prepped and ready to proceed into a dungeon. We had generated characters using the online character, computer generated character generators. So I had aggregated all of their equipment, all of their money and supplies. When the computer generates the characters, it generates the characters as per the rules of the rule book. So it allocates a certain amount of starting equipment, a certain amount of starting, money, weapons, etc. So what I did was I took our characters and I stripped them essentially of all their equipment. The computer spits out the printed page, and I write down all of the equipment, all of the money and stuff, and I aggregated it all, and then I reallocated it back out. So the computer gave heavy armor to a person that I knew I was going to be using as a caster. A spellcaster can't cast magic spells with heavy armor. Well, okay, so we know we took that heavy armor and we put it on our fighter, who was blessed with good stats to fight with, but was not blessed with with the computer algorithm of being assigned armor. Now, some people might consider that, a form of cheating. Again, I could give a damn. Let me tell you something about Mork. I just want to tell you something about the status of this stuff. And then this is like, this is a fashion show. Okay, this is a fashion show. The wind from the west, from the sundered land, rot rides it, and the stench of blood. Cursed walker, will you travel there? Go to the valley of the unfortunate undead. Our young ones are taken by the child thief Thurgoll, known for his vile crimes and alchemy of flesh. Distances shift, paths between places warp, as if this pale, lightless world possessed a will and bitter life, its mercy curdled to wrath over too long age. Who are you? Blah, 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 blah. Most likely it makes no difference. Now watch this line. No one has seen the sun in years. Listen to that line. No one has seen the sun in years. That's from page 3. That's from the opening page paper of Mork. No one has seen the sun in years. No one has seen the sun in years. I'm about to make a comment that no reviewer of this game has ever commented on. No one has seen the sun in years. Okay, it says that. Throughout the rest of this book, constant reference is made to the dawn, at daybreak, at nightfall if they're not used, at dusk if these spells are not used, at dawn if they're not used, they turn to dust. Every morning, roll for this. Every morning, roll for that. How can you have them every morning? How can you have a dusk? How can you have a nightfall if no one has seen the sun? I know there's being pedantic, but then there's no one has seen the sun in years, and then there's following that every morning, every nightfall, roll for. You can decide look here. No one has seen the sun in years. True or false? It says that. And then let's go to powers. This is you fucks. I'm sorry. This is so stupid. I love this game, but I hate this game. Won so many fucking awards. No one who has reviewed this fucking game has mentioned this. How is this possible? Spooky, clip me saying this. I'm the first person that has ever reviewed this game that has said the following. Number 1, no rules for falling. True or false? That's standard even in old school OSR. Fucking Karn has fucking rules for falling, if I'm not mistaken. If it doesn't, I'm going to look like an idiot. Don't clip that part. Someone fact check that before you clip me doing that. Powers. A few so-called powers are known, and they're usually found written around in scrolls. Fuck me if Karn doesn't have falling in it. Shit, I should have checked that. Roll presence plus D4 every morning to determine how many times you can use powers that day. Choose from your available. How can you have a morning if no one's seen the sun? Shithead. There's plenty of references. So many people have written their fan material. How many of you fuckers out there who have written fan material for this project? I love you. I love Mork. I have material for it. I have the territory. I have it all. I'm all in on Mork. But for the love of Jesus, come on now. Come on now. There's even crucifixes in here. How are there crucifixes in here if it's not Europe? Why is there a crucifix if there's no Jesus? And where are the black people at? No, I'm kidding. That was just for RPG Fun Dip. That was just me trying to get RPG Fun Dip to notice my channel. Honestly, I'm just teasing. No, I love this game. I do, but honestly, I'm sorry. There's so much bullshit writing. There's so much bullshit in this. No one, no one. Oh, here's the other thing I love. Check this shit out. Watch this. Really not suitable for those under the age of 16 years of age. Oh, please. Oh, please. Kids under the age of 16 have seen Goatsy. Give me a break. Grow up. Listen to this. Talk about growing up. A doom metal album of a game. Yeah, like doom metal scary. A spiked flail to the face. Oh no. Rules light, everything else. Oh, role-playing games. Oh my. One day all will blacken and burn. The point is this, that there's an advertisement that says that, oh, this is the game that your parents warned you about. No, it's not. First of all, my parents, like, my dad's dead because that's how old we are. Listen, folks, Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, whatever, they published, okay, what was it? Dungeons and Dragons came out in 1974. That was 48 years ago. That whole like heavy metal panic, that was in the early 80s. Okay? Your parent, this was the kids that if your parents warned you about Dungeons and Dragons, you're now approximately approaching 50 years old. Okay? What? You're old. You're old, dude. Like, and do that, like, okay, like, oh wow. So great. Now you're scared. Congratulations. You're 50 years old. Now it's like, this is the heavy metal, this is the role-playing game your parents warned you about. Okay, now wonderful. Now I have something to console me and comfort me with. Now I worry about like the hip hop impresarios that my children might be dating. Do you know what I mean? Now I got to worry about like the 13-year-old gun violence that might be approaching my door trying to get my heart medication because they think it might get them high. Do you know what I mean? Like, grow up. There's like absolutely zilch shocking about any of this crap. And like, there's like such like, oh my God, so many typos. And the fact that shit got through, like, where is your dignity as a writer? And freely, like, look at the number of people that have their name on this shit. That means you guys wrote something that had on page 1, whatever, the sun will come out, never. And then on page number 3, whatever, 5, 7, 8 billion, whatever, every time the sun comes out and goes down. And then you guys double down on that shit. Then Free League Publishing, that Yahoo, one of those guys. I don't trust guys that can hang out in the gym, those guys that like hang out all the time and be like, yeah, I was in ROTC, and then I was like, I hang out in the gym all the time, but I'm still like soft as a teddy bear. I don't like those guys. And then these guys all the time, you know what I mean? Like all these people investing money and no one catches that shit. Like, hey, why don't we rewrite this crap? I love it. No. This is no. These are all store bought. These are Fortnite figures. These are not like anything at all. But I love this game. I love this game. And people are saying, yo, I thought you were gonna go into the first dungeon. Everybody's equipped. Yo, hold on. I'm gonna get an aneurysm. But this is nuts. The bad writing on this shit is nuts. I can't believe that no one's mentioned this shit. No one caught that shit. No one has mentioned this shit. Everyone reviews this shit, and it's all that fucking smiley nice guy. I hate that fucking smiley nice guy. Hi, I'm smiley nice guy, and I've got these glasses and blah, and you know, Borg is a fantastic new guy. All these fucking smiley nice guys, and no one mentions the fucking, and it's like rules light, heavy, everything else, and they go through this thing, and no one mentions the fact that you can be rules light, but come on, there's rules light. And there's rules random. You can go through and you can be honest about something and say, hey, let's be honest. Is there something just cultural here? And that's what I'm saying. It's just a culture. Oh, and here's another thing, folks. All you folks out there self-publishing shit for Mork, that's awesome. You are making culturally significant folk art. Let me tell you something. As a man who was part and parcel of youth culture for like rounds of youth culture, people that saw people make their own custom CDs and 12 inches and 7 inches from punk rock to disco to techno to hip hop to house. Whatever you make, whatever you publish, whatever you put your heart and soul into, put your heart and soul into it because of love. Because you're going to end up with boxes and boxes and boxes of whatever the fuck you make, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's books, whether it's RPGs, whether it's zines, whether it's, 7 inches, whether it's vinyl, whatever you make, whatever, the majority of what you make out of love, you're going to have, and it's not going to make you a lick, a dime, a nothing. You ain't paying your rent with self-published Mork shit. So whatever you do out of love. Just do that. No one is making a fucking dime out of this shit. Okay, just know that. Just know that. And I love you. Everyone is equipped. And here's what's got to go down. Here is what's got to go down. Here's what's got to go down. Everybody knows that grift is hell. And especially it's hell for the lady. But when I came down to it, I knew this. I knew that things had to move forward in this playthrough. I had tripped out and done the card spread, and I returned to the card spread enough times, and I looked at it and I tripped out at it, but I'd said to myself, okay, we've had our fun. We say hello to the elephant in the room. We've had our fun. We've established the relationships. We see what's going down in Grift. We know that Schmick and Yaska have been on this crazy fucking nude hermit fucking grave robin visions of dead animals and shit in the whatever. And we know that Marcotte and Father Ton have been on their own dream of trying to find, ignoring all the warning signs that the decadence of Sarkash and Graventusk and the Shadow King's Mance are as evil as potentially as Grift. They still think that might be the place to install the lady. People have returned to Grift, and I knew that people had returned to Grift, and I needed to do the simple work necessary to move the story forward. I'll return to that point in Rugged Source. The Solitary Defilement is a solo playthrough, solo material for it. I'm going to try still stick to my plan of using the micro chapbook RPG materials. We're going to see if that works. But I do have Solitary Defilement. People love Solitary Defilement. Love it. And it certainly works with your aesthetics of Mork Borg. So I had visions. I knew that things had to be practically taken care of and we needed housekeeping to be taken care of. I knew that the materials needed to be redistributed. I knew that even after the materials and equipment that we had were redistributed, still more materials needed to be procured. We had no shields. We were under-equipped. We have casters, spellcasters, but they're casters in name only because they have no scrolls. They have no scrolls, which are the items from which powers our magic spells are cast from. I have the main books. I had some supplementary materials that allow for the purchasing of scrolls, but I did not want to do that at the outset. I wanted to try and see if my individuals could find scrolls in the quote unquote old school sense. One of my guys will also generate scrolls spontaneously by one of his powers. Schmick has the power to generate D2 scrolls every morning. How can you have a morning if no one has seen the sun for years? You Swedish bastards! And Kuntz. Don't want to be sexist. Have to assume there were vaginas. And non-binary units of entrance or egress, or possibly units of mass and or girth for the penetration of voluntary partners of copious coitus delight. Is that how people talk in the future? Or did I just get future canceled? Watch me get future canceled. Watch me get future canceled. Watch me be the first guy to get future swatted. Now there's a story. People are going to complain in the comment section. Be like, you know what? When he went off on Mork, I was like, whatever. It's on topic. It might not be. I might not agree with the guy, but at least he's on topic. But when he started talking about being future swatted, fuck you. Save it for your Contra Retro RPG channel, asshole. Right? Future SWAT. Now there's the concept. Don Quixote, asexual erasure. That's like, oh man, find me a beat. Hold on. Shit, now we're gonna get distracted. I was supposed to just hold on, we're getting distracted. Asexual erasure. No, it doesn't work because of it could work as a like the title of like a Mark Fisher, like a pseudo Mark Fisher essay. We're getting off topic. Everyone had to get more stuff. So I had some plot points too. Here's the deal. They come to Grift. They want the lady to leave Grift. Will she be convinced? A couple of plot points I had. So I've got two notepads now that I've got going. I've got a special notepad just for scrap notes, and I've got a special notepad for like the recording of solid details at the end of at the end of sessions. So here's some recordings that I made. Here's the entry I made at 10:26:22. This was when we made the last YouTube vid. I said YouTube vid, characters named and introduced, occult herb master, swap out and render switch brooch. That's because we changed the character model. All since first figure video, central mythology outlined, central tarot court approach outlined. Oh, and then here's a post midnight update, personal notes. Clear that when we join our team on day one, morning one, they will be gathered up in Grift. Why? Because the Lady Malaise, Svedna, and Mahunda, the young girl, had been held up there unwisely too long, seemingly because they were landlocked there. So, partly her, partly because the unnatural environs. I think that Grift is kind of deteriorating. And like I said, I feel like it's kind of Atlantic City meets Venice meets kind of, it's like I feel like she was in some sort of like hotel kind of casino kind of place that was like an unwise place for her to be. So when we're good with the first place that we're going to call a dungeon that we're going to go into, and we're not going to do it today. I'm not going to try and roll dice in front of you guys and gals. What we're going to do is we're just going to do this, and we're going to wrap up soon. I got to wrap up soon. But when you next come back, I'm going to go through and we're going to do a battle report of telling you guys what happened, and we'll do the blow by blow and the playthrough of what happens when we go through the first establishment, and I'll tell you what the establishment's going to be. So, but this is just kind of recap of the notes so far. Um, so she's in Grift, and they're in Grift, and things are deteriorating. So everyone's come back. Um, when it became apparent that no one could agree on a central meeting point outside of her presence, and it wasn't going to be coming, and she wasn't becoming out of Grift, it became apparent that everyone had to go there to get her out. Everyone agrees that Grift is not a safe place for her to be. Okay? So prior to the arrival in Grift, Schmick and Yaska, and I know that this is repetitive. I'm going over notes that I may have already gone over with you orally. Schmick and Yaska had been in the Valley of the Undead seeking initiation magic and the center of the cyclone. The essence of the answer to the secret, it is where Schmick thinks they all should return. He had told Yaska that Yaska's childhood first memories of being a suckling wolf in the Bergen crypt was a sign that was part of this, memory, part of this vision. Marquette and Father Ton were at or about the Shadow King's expanse and the forest. They believe the court can move in there and wait on the end of days and or establish a new stronghold there. And I write here in my notes, does Father Ton have other agendas? They want this plan to move forward. And I wrote, what will happen next? So here's the thing. Then I have some other notes here. Where did I wrote those other notes here? I read some other notes here. I know that I wrote here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is what I was looking for. I got to be careful. I'm already writing loose notes that are getting loose lost. Yeah, no, absolutely. Rest in peace, Mark Fisher. Plot points. The girl's got to have it. 2 points. Drugs. We know that she's got an addiction or intoxicants in general. She's probably got a libidinous attitude. Okay. And possessions. I purposely spent too much money in the shop on frivolous items like perfume and a mirror and extra bags like sacks to hold stuff in. Like I wasted money in the shop in Morkborg when we were supplying stuff based on the fact that we've got, a person who thinks of herself as royalty. Whether or not it turns out the fact that this is just a lie that she's been told about herself by people that need to perpetuate this lie because they're gypsies on the run, or whether or not this is an actual fact, we have this. Also, they want her to move. She's not going to move if she's not moving in style. So there's a wagon, a small wagon listed for 25 silver in the Mork book. I doubled that price on the theory that she's not going to go in a small wagon. She wants a nice wagon. I also doubled the price of the mattress listed. Why? She wants 2 mattresses on top of each other in the back of that wagon because she's going to want to be in style and in comfort. What's the other problem, though, if she's got this nice wagon with 2 horses? Because she wants 2 horses. A big wagon with 2 horses is obviously going to be a magnet for highwaymen. If I'm playing this straight and I'm taking all things in consideration, I have to now know and understand that playing with this large group of people and giving them this eyesore, this attractive eyesore of a large, huge, relatively large wagon, drawing and underlining the fact that we've got a VIP wealthy person moving around is going to be a magnet for stains in an already dangerous land. So what's our next plot point? Our plot point is this, and this is going to be the setup for our first dungeon. Even though they've already gone shopping and they've procured all this stuff, including these 2 horses, Salt and Pepper, and this wagon, and all this crap, they're not ready to leave Grift yet because the lady is not convinced to leave Grift. So they need to find some place to hold up in Grift. They don't have any spells yet. So Grift is a wealthy or a city-state of some renown. It could have been some sort of Atlantis. at some point, though it's obviously fallen into some disrepair. I'm imagining that there's some sort of wealthy estates, and it is to this place that we're going to try and find some sort of estate or mansion to raid or to hold up for a while. And I think we need to A-B this, not just for the sake of so that we have some sort of frisson, because we need to see things move forward. These characters may die. That may happen. It may be necessary to see that happen. It may be necessary to have these plot points resolved. If nothing happens and we just pull tarot cards for these guys all day, this game of Morkborg will never resolve. We'll just end up referencing Morkborg every once in a while as we pull tarot cards. But it is this morning. And we have to end this stream. These individuals, we are assuming the following plot points. They have convinced the lady to leave the hotel, the casino, the rented room that she had been held up in. I need a pencil. Hold on. Entertain yourselves for a moment. I need a pen. The Chant Division was the Chant Division's always get a star of approval. I love the Chant Division. People check out Out of Context CW Chanter. There's a new video up on Out of Context CW Chanter. I wish you were. Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, I'm not signed in on the thing, so I can't make mods. Hold on, and I got to rush. Hold on. I was wrong about Elon Musk. He bought Twitter because he had to. But I will say that I was wrong, but I will say I was wrong with the modification. He's going to regret it. He had to buy it now. Anyway, he'll be a loser. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do our final stage of housekeeping for today. The next update will be the battle report from the dungeon. Okay, unless it's a live playthrough from the dungeon. We're going to say that we've awoken the morning of, we're leaving the establishment. People will now have to roll for their morning ablutions, the end of the world. What is this? We gotta hold on. I can tell you the thing. Hold on. Oh, the crap. We gotta do our powers and all this shit. What is this fucking shit? And we got to see, because we're going to have to figure out. And then we're going to figure out, you guys are going to help me decide how people are going to figure out. You guys and gals are going to help me figure out. Maybe you guys will help figure out what we're going to decide as far as what the decision is going to be made as far as where we're going to end up going. Whether we're going to go to the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead. Okay, the calendar of Necrobal. The world trembles. One can feel it in ways sharp and subtle, mysterious and clear. One by one, inevitable events demand their place. The world is ending. Illustrating this, the game master rolls a die each dawn. Dawn, it says, hey, guys, we're going to make central to our game. Each dawn, we roll for the end. Hey, if we're making central to the story that each dawn, maybe we shouldn't have it the first paragraph. We say no one has seen the sun in years, because how can you not see the sun in years if at every dawn we roll for the calendar Necroball and no one mentioned that in any reviews? Because you can't review. I'm the only guy qualified to review RPGs, apparently. Honestly, clip that. I'm the only person qualified to review RPGs. Evidence one, I'm the only person that successfully pointed out that in Mork Borg on page 16, it says every dawn the GM will roll for yada 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 bullshit, but on page fucking yada yada 3, line whatever is, no one has seen the sun in years. You suck. That's, you blow. I'm sorry, I love you. Your game is awesome, but you're a joke. You owe me food for life. Honestly. Every time you're in the East Coast of the United States, look me up and buy me dinner and lunch and breakfast. I'm a hungry boy. I'm like something out of Mork Borg. You roll for your misery. It's me. It's me. Where do you want to go? 2 diners. Oh, shit. Roll on it. Oh, the one in Burt. Oh, God. It only opens at dawn. Roll, Jesus. The GM rolled. Okay, here we go. Sorry. A result of 1 activates 1 misery. The die used is determined by the GM and the group. Oh, Christ. The GM then rolls D66 to determine which misery occurs. Okay, so depending on how long we want this game to end will depend on which type of die we roll. Because a roll of 1, a misery will occur, and only X number of miseries can occur, because the 7th misery is this horrible one where the world ends. So we could roll a D2, which means there's a 50-50 shot every day that the misery will occur. We could roll a D6, a D10, or a D20, or a D100. If we roll a D2, they call that the end is nigh. We roll a D6, it says it'll only last a cruel month. A D10 is a fall and anguish. D20 is a bleak half year. A D100 is years of pain. Should we say a cruel month? I feel like a cruel month. I can't. We can't do camera changes. I'm gonna do a cruel month. I'm gonna do D6. So I'm gonna say our cat. Well, actually, you know what? Fuck these guys. You know what I'm doing? I'm doing a D8. Fuck you. I'm doing a month and a half. I'm doing quarterly taxes, you shitbags. I'm doing a quarterly taxes of Borg. You don't know. I'm doing a fractal fucking month. I'm doing you shitbags. I'm doing a fucking D8 for fucking the calendar. Calendar of your ass is a D8 because I'm being difficult. Yes, thank you. Yes, home rule. If you think that I can't believe that these guys got away with that. Also, I can't believe I'm the only guy that mentioned the fact that these guys don't have a rule for the application of poison or weapons, and they don't have a rule for falling. Iron fucking Falcon. Read Iron fucking Falcon and understand that anything that is not included in a game that is included in Iron, that's like the benchmark. If it's not included in Iron Falcon, that means it was. If it's in Iron Falcon, it was in 1974 original D&D. Okay, which means kiss my ass. I'm sorry. But you have hovering. But you have a power with hovering. Thanks, guys. We just meant that the GM home rules it. You house rule it. You house rule it. Okay, so I'll house rule falling. I'll house rule. It's excusable. Oh, it's awesome. It's this awesome game I invented called Fashionable Naked Ladies. And what it is, it's basically it's 666 pages of erotic goth emo naked ladies. And what you do is you roll a D100 and then you like look at the naked lady and like you like yeah, that's like how you play. Get it? It's rules light. Play with yourself, everything else. And like you like we're using this very interesting fan produced content, make your own content, self-publishing model. You send us photos of yourself and we put it on the internet. Okay, so we roll a D8 for the calendar, and if we roll a one of the disasters happens. So I gotta get a dice. And I'm 30 minutes. I'm 26 minutes over. Hold on. We're gonna rush this. Hold on. I'm not gonna be able to do the other things. I'm already 30 minutes over. I'm not gonna do the powers or anything for you guys. I'm gonna have to do those out of your sight. I apologize, but the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That's the inappropriate line to use. The appropriate line to use is I've gone over time, and therefore spooky. How can you do a month with no sun though? Absolutely. No, it's just these people have problems. And like I said, there's being pedantic, and then there's honestly, folks. There's rules light, everything else, and then there's just we didn't do our homework, folks. They didn't do their homework. There's rules light, and then there's come on, folks. It's just a joke. I'm sorry, they did not finish. They didn't finish their work. I love you. There's too many typos. There's too many fucking typos, and too many fucking people had their hands on this. Free League Publishing, Stockholm Cartel, I don't give a fuck. Too many fucking people had their hands on this thing. I am sick and tired of the number of people with graduate fucking degrees. I am sick and tired of the number of people who have the capacity and the education of then the ability to take pride in their fucking work who are handing in bullshit. And here's the other thing. It is now 2022. That free PDF is up there with the same fucking bullshit mistakes. And no one gives a fuck that generations of kids that we think are going to be the next generation of tabletop players are playing this shit with no fucking direction and no indication, and no one gives a fuck, because the only thing that people give a fuck is the fact that they've got an en route to self-publishing shit that they think is going to pay for their next nickel bag of weed. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying it. FYI, and in case you're curious, come back in a year and a half and in 2 years, and here's what it's going to be. Everyone that ran these Kickstarter projects, everyone who ran these things for Troika and all this shit, they're all going to say the same story. I had a fun time. I had a blast. It was great. Guess what? Guess what's in my mom's house? Me and a box and a bin full of, you want a copy of my RPG zine? You want a hardback copy of fucking I Rolled a 6, The World Lives Another Day? You want one of the 350 copies remaining copies of a techno CD from 2002? Ask someone who made fucking techno music in 2002. Trust me, kid. Yo, I love you. I love you. But have some pride, have some respect for yourselves, and call a spade, and don't just be excited because some shit is happening in role playing games. Yeah, some shit's happening in role playing games, but it's got to be good shit, and you got to have pushback. And if it's not pushback, it's just consumerism. And that's why people are excited and happy, folks. Just understand that. People are excited and happy about Mork because people are doing something other than just 5e. Like friggin', that's it. And be aware of the fact that when the biggest tabletop role playing game producer in history, Dungeons and Dragons, is doing everything desperately, and the biggest collectible card game producer in history, Magic the Gathering, they're doing everything in their power to turn physical cards, Magic the Gathering cards, into a digital asset, and Pokemon cards, physical cards, into a digital asset. And they're doing everything in their power to turn Dungeons and Dragons into a digital asset. Folks, you know what I mean? This is yarn. This is crocheting. This is, Quaker, fucking, yarn woodworking lathe artistry and shit. This is like, we're not, this is going nowhere. This is like, a dying culture. Understand that. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful, but there are no shaker communities. You know what I mean? There are active ukulele aficionado conventions. You know what I mean? But the Democratic Party may not be canvassing them actively, and throwing a whole bunch of resources into them, trying to, tangle them as a market. I get far afield sometimes. I apologize. You know what I mean? I apologize. I lose focus. We pull a card from the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot deck. And this is inscrutable. I have no idea what this symbol means. This is a 5 of what? This is a 5 of folks, I have no idea what this is. This is like a 5 of dwarves. What is this? This is the card I pulled. Now I have to look in the book because I have no idea what this is. I have to figure out what this is. It's like a 5 of. Is that supposed to be a disc? I have no idea what this is. I have no idea where the what the or are those swords there? There's maybe this might be swords. Hold on. They named them all funky. I think they named them funky. No, they got wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. Okay. Oh, in this tarot deck, we have mapped the traditional suits of the minor arcana, wands, swords, cups, and pentacles to abilities within the game of D&D. Okay, great. So strength signifies your physical ability to move it. Oh, wonderful. Great. Okay, shit. Fuck me. So what is this? What did I get? I now have to find the friggin' guy. I got the 5 of what? I got the 5 of strength? What is this? Holy shit. No, I heard. Oh my god. Meanwhile, yesterday I got to tell you, I did my first kind of public debut as a tarot card reader. My kids did a trunk or treat, and I for 2 hours I did tarot card readings, one card spreads, one card reads for little kids. That was tough. Oh Christ, I gotta search for these guys, these little guys. So I've got dwarves in a air balloon. I literally have to look for these guys. This is interesting. Oh, so these are five guys of wisdom. So I've got five of wisdom. So now I have to look to see what map wisdom is. Wisdom is, so in this tarot deck, we have mapped the traditional suits of the minor arcana, wands, swords, cups, and pentacles, to abilities within the game of D&D. But it doesn't really kind of tell you how it does it. Well, wisdom. Wisdom represents not only your external perception, but also your capacity to look into your internal world and see all the subtleties within yourself. These cards tell seekers to turn within and listen to the nonverbal language of the heart and body in order to gain access to the wisdom of insight and intuition. I guess that could be like, I guess that's cups. I think that they mean that that's cups. Yeah, because intelligence would be swords. Okay, so wisdom is cups. So this is this is five of cups. Okay, five of cups. Oh, makes perfect sense. Oh my God, makes perfect sense. Look at me fighting with my feelings about Mork Borg. What wackiness. Look at this. Look at these guys fighting amongst ourselves when there's bigger fish to fry. We're being held in place. We seek to elevate. One person is here. Let's see what the card says. But I'll tell you what I see in the visual. Well, let me see. I'll see what I see in the visual. I'll see what I just see, and then we'll read what the card says. And then we can talk about the traditional vision of the card. You know, the Five of Cups is one of those things. I need a confidence booster. I get shaken every once in a while. I knew it. Thank you. I knew it. Oh, actually, let's take a look at this guy. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. This is very interesting. Okay, let me show you something. I want to show you something here about this card. It's very interesting. So the Five of Cups, whenever I see the number five in the tarot, I'm always thinking about humans. Five, two arms, two legs, and a head. The elements: fire, air, earth, water, and spirit that connects it all and controls it all, hopefully, into a good, positive direction rather than a negative, bad direction, demoniac direction. If we see here, we got the number five, but we've got four little guys in this basket. And there's a fifth character. The fifth character is the ogre, the giant, holding them back. In the tarot, the traditional image of a tarot card, the Rider-Waite card, you have three cups that are turned over, a hooded person that's looking at them, but what they don't see is two cups that are standing up. Usually what we see when we see this card is we talk about loss or feelings of loss that are endemic to human emotions. Cups are the suit of emotions. And it's natural for people to feel bad and to associate feelings of the heart with feelings of loss. We often remember our losses more than we remember our victories. It's us that hold on to those losses and remember those things. It's us that choose where we look. when I see this and I see that it's this character, this ogre that's holding us back, this giant that's holding us down, we need to remember that it's us, that it's us, that it's choosing what we concentrate on and making our choices. It's us that are choosing whether or not to pick up a sword to fight or to pick up a fish to try and hit this guy. But it's also us choosing to pick up a fish or choosing to pick up nothing at all. But it also might be us to say, to perceive the ogre as someone that's an enemy that needs to be fought. The ogre might be us. So, in the context of this, we're reminded that the parts are the whole. I call it a solo playthrough, and yet there's not one character, there's many. I call it a solo playthrough of Mork, yet I complain about Mork. I say I love Mork as I yell and rally against it. We say You say Mork Samsara. There are things that I love about Mork. One of the things that I love about Mork is this notion of finality and this notion of rolling for the end of the calendar, because it comes and has at an end, which I think is a beautiful thing that is necessary. That is a natural end to this skyroming of 5e, this endless notion of endless role play, of the endless virtual reality that we need to be aware of, because the endless conception of a worthless heaven that is boring, the game that goes nowhere, goes anywhere you want to go, as long as where you want to go is a safe nowhere. But it's equally as opposite a nowhere to say it goes always to hell. If it goes pointlessly to the negative just to go to the negative, it's equally as pointless. It's equally as boring. That's why I stopped listening to Southern Lord records. I know all about Stephen O'Malley and Greg Anderson and Goat Snake and, Teeth of Lion, Rule the Divine. And I bought the Earth CD in 1990, like when it came out. I got it on Sub Pop when it came out. I instinctively knew that it was something different, crazy, and different and new. And I got it, and I listened to that shit all the time. No joke. I listened to the Boredoms, I listened to all that crazy shit, and so I listened to black metal when that shit came out. I remember listening to that shit in 1992, and I was like, oh, they brought that shit back because I was listening to Venom on tape back in the 80s. I am actually 47 years old. Fuck you, kids. Some of y'all were born in like 2000 and after whenever, you know what I mean? And I'm crucially aware of that fact. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? We're just gonna keep it, we're just gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I gotta go, but I really do love you. Next time you see me, it's gonna be with a battle report about how these cats did in the dungeon. Not everyone's gonna fight every battle, not everyone needs to. but we're going to play it through its natural system that's going to evolve, and we're going to have to keep it straight, and we're going to have to try and keep it real. I love you. Tell me what you think about my play style in the comments below. Give me advice. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Are you digging it? Are you not digging it? Are you tuning in? Do you like role-playing games? What's up? I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you they loved you today, somebody just did. That somebody is CW Chanter, Cable Guy Incognito, Benjamin. Call me what you will. I've got some of my links in below. My links are all over the place. Look up CW Chanter if you want. Look up, I am the one who works here now. That link is there. I'm all over the place. I'm kind of kooky. I'm on Instagram at CW Chanter. I got to use the Twitch channel more, but then we figured out that if I broadcast on more than one place on StreamYard, it makes the reception suck. So maybe I'll try to do like actual plays, like rolling the dice on Twitch. Maybe we'll do that if people are actually interested in that. You got to tell me what you're interested in. Do you need me to go back to the micro RPG content? You tell me what you're interested in. I love you. Get involved. Okay, be good. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.